So this podcast with Liam, I fundamentally believe this gentleman is the foundations of the franchise industry. And if you are thinking about franchising your business, if you are franchising your business and you feel like you're having a pretty tough time at the minute, you should watch this podcast. You'll remember why you did it, why you're doing it, and why you are going to do it. And if you just want to hear an honest chat about mental health and being a bloke, this is a great podcast too. I've fully enjoyed it. Thanks for coming on, mate. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Tezlom Podcast. Okay, so this podcast is a little bit different than some of the other ones because we've actually done it before. And the reality of running a business or day-to-day life, that things don't always go to plan. And this podcast, we recorded, it was absolutely incredible, but unfortunately we had a little bit of a technical issue. So I want to cover some stuff today, but I would really like you to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company, please, first.
So Liam Hobbs, More Than Loft Ladders. We create storage in people's lofts, make them good for storage, declutter the house, make a bit of room. I was a franchisee for 9 years, bought the business, became franchisor, and now busy getting stuck into that.
Love that, mate. We covered a lot on the last podcast. There's some bits that are kind of ringing into me in the minute, and I'm just going to go off with the flow if that's all right, mate.
Yeah.
We touched on mental health a bit, and it's obviously something that I think everyone suffers with at different points in their life. I wanted to talk about how you cope now compared to, because you left the corporate world, and we'll cover that because of your mental health. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you cover it day to day right now?
Day to day now is it's still a struggle at times.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever you never get over it. You learn to cope with it. The tablets help. So yeah, I'll no shame in saying that I take medication.
Yeah.
It helps, but you still have your tough times.
Yeah.
For me, sort of coping is taking stock of where you are, where you've come from, where you're going, and also just giving yourself that space and time for yourself. So physical exercise, giving your brain that downtime just to not be wound up. But yeah, so I'm like you know, running around at silly o'clock in the morning, preparing yourself for the day and just getting your head straight and just getting yourself in the best condition you can be to do what's got to be done that day. Yeah,
it's interesting. I'm exactly the same. Have you found a routine at all, or have you got anything sorted in the mornings? Or?
I'm in the gym at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm not a massive gym bunny. I just go in. I do a bit on the treadmill, go around the machines, do a few weights, do a bit of this, bit of that.
Move your body.
And then go into I go into the pool area for 45 minutes, an hour. I'll have a sauna, a steam room, a little bit of a swim, and just that. I think that's my time when I'm in that area, just to sort of detox and clear my head and get ready for the day.
Yeah. Do the 5 o'clock in the morning thing? Is it just a natural thing for you, an early morning rise, or it's something you push yourself to do?
It's pretty natural to me. I was delivering papers at that time of day from 12 years old, and it's just stuck with me. I've always sort of been an early riser.
Yeah, I think you're either I'm an early riser. I've not set an alarm clock since I was about 18, because I was in the car game, and then you just had to get up early. And I'd been to Manchester for 8 o'clock, and I was driving from Chorley to Manchester every day. So, but yeah, I don't have an alarm clock set because I'd like to wake up naturally, but I naturally wake up at that time anyway. I think it's important, that bit of it.
Yeah, it is, especially if you can wake up naturally. It's not forced.
Yeah, and then the other side of it is though, but I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like you can get more done in the mornings than you can at night. I feel like having that, it's weird, but I also think it's quite toxic to make the rest of the world think that. I feel like you should do your own thing, but for me personally, I feel like the rest of the world isn't people don't talk to each other at that time o'clock in the morning, where people would talk to each other at night.
Yeah.
So having that, no emails, no texts, no WhatsApps, nothing's kind of going on, you have that few hours before the day starts. Where quite often when you run a business, after 5, 6, 7 o'clock, there's still stuff going on sometimes.
Yeah.
And and you've had all your energy taken from that day. So you don't always have that clear mind of thinking. So I always think there's a benefit for getting up early, but I think if you're not a natural riser, where my mum doesn't come into work till 11, but quite often she'll be here till 8 o'clock at night. And so she'll work into the early hours of the morning, where at 10 o'clock, like, I'm no good to anyone.
Yeah, it's what works for you.
Yeah.
It really is. There's no right and wrong with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're quite similar. That I'll get up early, get it done.
Yeah.
As you say, that that after you've done your me time, you've still got a couple of hours to get stuck into some work before people start pestering you.
Yeah.
Before the emails start coming in.
Yeah. The text messages and the.
Yeah. So it's I'm very much a get up, get it done.
Yeah. Gets your head clear for the day.
Yeah.
Going to jump a little bit. I do want to go back in time, but it's just because I know you now.
Yeah.
So there's some bits that I want to pick out and be a little bit selfish about, just because it's nice to be able to ask these detailed questions. The part about setting yourself up for the day, how do you cope? Can you give me an idea of like the size of your team now? What's your team like now?
So in my franchise that we still run, we've got we've got 4 installers, an ops manager, dedicated sales guy, somebody in the office manning the phones. So we've sort of got that team of 7 in that business, and then we've got 7 franchises.
Yeah. And each franchise has got a couple of staff, have they, or one staff?
So yeah, there's 2. So including us, there's 3 that are multi-unit areas. The other 4 single, but a couple of them are looking at expanding pretty soon.
Nice.
So that's growing, and we've got one of the other multi-van franchises is looking at taking on a new territory as well. So
how much are the franchises?
So ours it's 20,000 franchise fee.
Yeah.
Bit of working capital to sort of sort your van out and whatever.
Yeah.
It's.
Does the person who owns the franchise have to be working in it, or can there be a manager of it?
It can be managed. It definitely helps at the beginning to be a bit hands-on.
Yeah.
Because it's tough setting up any kind of business.
Yeah.
And the more you can keep your costs down, the better. We've got a guy just started actually in Northampton, Lewis, lovely guy, and he's very much looking at it as a managed fleet. Yeah. But he knows he's got to put 6 months in.
Yeah, to figure it out himself.
On the shop floor, in the dirt, working it out.
Yeah. You get a full picture of the job. So that's quite a reasonably sized team, isn't it? It's quite a lot of people to consider. Yeah. I know I think you managed people in your previous life. Yeah. Is that the bit? So for me, that's my bit. I have to get my head straight because I don't want to be a dickhead with my team. I want to be as clear-minded of thought as I can, so when I arrive at work, they get their best version of me.
Absolutely.
Is that what you think as well?
No, you've got to be, because if you're not on your game, and I've been there, you're no use to anyone.
Yeah,
you might as well not show your face.
Is that what you do it for? That's what I do it for.
Yeah.
Like I don't really think about the emails that I've got to send or the clients I've got to deal with or anything else. It's just that when I walk in the door, I'm full of energy, in the best mood I possibly can be in, so that I can deal with, because at the end of the day, your responsibility is for people's careers, and they're dealing with lots of other stuff in their life. And not unfortunately, part of the role is you take their personal life on as well.
Yeah.
So they come to you with this.
You've got to make it easy. You've got to create an environment that these people are working in, so that you get the best out of them. Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what you're paying them the money for.
Yeah.
And if you're not giving them that environment where they can do the best, then you're not doing them any favours, and you're wasting your own money.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that defines the work. I've been asked a few times what success looks like, and I have a couple of different versions, but I always go back to this sentence: is if I could create a place in work, an environment where people feel comfortable about coming to work and they're the most productive, I think that's success.
Yeah, I'd echo that.
I think that's pretty much it. As long as I can afford to buy things I want and I can look after people if they get ill and stuff like that, I think that's kind of I know you'll probably think this, but it's remembering the journey, not the goal. It's the goal is the journey.
Yeah.
Day to day, enjoying your life and coming into work and having, you know what I mean, and getting something out and feel fulfillment is the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's sometimes hard, isn't it, when you're trying to focus on growth and determination, that them difficult days, remembering that, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can lose sight of that. So it is important to keep yourself grounded and sort of have them reality checks.
Okay. Let's talk about how it was born. How was Loft Ladders born, mate? What were you doing beforehand?
So I was. I've always had a work ethic. As I said, I did 2 paper rounds before school, 2 paper rounds after school. Absolutely hated school. And when I was 14, I basically just sort of gave up on school, and I was wagging it, and I was
doing what you want.
I was a right little shit. I was horrible. And I carried on that thing, just going between job to job to job, and never really settled in anything until I got a job at TNT, the parcel freight company, and I sort of settled there. It was at a time of life as well where I'd been married a couple of years. We had Louise, our first child. Second one was on the way, and it was like, I need to grow up a bit.
Yeah.
Can
Can you remember how old you were?
So I would have been 24, 25 at that time. And
It's a good age to say that to yourself as a fellow, though.
Yeah.
I think at 25 you don't know what your ass is most of the time.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it just, right, yeah, I need to settle down. I can't keep going from job to job.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was a good environment, a good opportunity to sort of make something for myself. And I worked my way up through there. I started as a delivery driver, worked my way up into the traffic office and supervising.
Can I stop you? Do you think there was any individual, I'm going to move this microphone, was there any individual that kind of got you under the wing? And can you remember any defining facts? I've had a few conversations like that, I think with men anyway. Can you remember a particular person getting a grip of you?
Not really, no.
You just did it yourself?
Yeah. It was just a case of I was just dicking around from job to job.
Were you sick of that?
We'd got ourselves in financial trouble, borrowing money and credit cards, and so we'd got ourselves in a bit of a state, and it was time to sort it out. And to be honest, it's probably Kelly, my wife, that got hold of me and sort of
give you a crack.
Just said, look, we've got to do something here, because we can't carry on like this. We don't want to be, them people that are always struggling.
I think also that it takes a bit of time for that child to bed into a family as well. And I think from my perspective, I'm being really truthful here, it takes a bit of time for that responsibility to really kick in about, right, okay, I really fucking need to take this seriously. Yeah,
it was the second child for me.
Yeah.
It was like, we've blagged it up to now, and our luck's going to run out. We need to.
It's a funny feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it was that sort of drove me to trying to settle down in a corporate role, thinking that was the answer. My dad was always corporate. He worked for M&S for years, and I just thought that was what you do. Mm-hmm. Worked my way up, and I thought I was sort of doing what I wanted, climbing the ladder, excuse the pun, and ended up. I got an opportunity to be a security manager, which I jumped at. That was at their main sort of night hub. So it was working nights, which fitted with the family. Second child was now here, so it was great, because I'd work nights, get home, and we could do the school runs and bits and bobs between us, and it all sort of fitted. And then I took another promotion away from the security.
Was life
side.
all good then, mate? Was it?
Yeah, it was all going along. Yeah, we were happy. We were in a better place. We'd sort of clearing debts, and we could afford holidays and stuff like that. Yeah. And I took this opportunity that I thought was the next big step. Yeah. And it was away from the security side. It was working on the bank contracts that they had, and it just went downhill from day one on that job. To be honest, it was just like, shit, what have I done? The people in that side of the business were toxic. It was like stepping back into sort of 70s bully boy tactics, and just I thought, what the hell have I done here?
Big mistake.
And that was when that was when I first recognised that I had a mental health problem.
Yeah.
Up until then, I always just thought it was me, just moody sometimes, a bit down, and never took it seriously. And then I realised when work started to affect me.
I think there's always that. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, mate, but I could be wrong. But I think you can have blues and down days and a couple of down days sometimes, and you can correct yourself by spending some downtime, a holiday, whatever, and that can come back. But I think I think that's the correct terminology is 2 weeks. If it's a 2 week cycle, it goes from down into actual chronic depression.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing. And is that what kind of?
That's where you find yourself. Yeah, you can't. I hate it when people say snap yourself out of it. You can't. If you're in it, you can't do that. But
No.
You do have your coping mechanisms where you when you know what you know now, you can feel something coming on. There's certain triggers, and you can pull yourself back from the edge, can't you?
I think once you've had that professional help,
Yeah.
you know how to pull yourself back. And then once you've done it a few times, don't get me wrong though, there can be sometimes where you can't.
Oh, absolutely.
But you definitely get better at recognising.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, so I'd got to that point where I was stuck right down there, and couldn't get out. So I ended up getting signed off work, and then.
What did the missus think about it?
It was. She was supportive, but also it was sort of, this is something you need to get through and work out.
She was being mum, wasn't she, as well?
Yeah, she's very matter of fact. So sometimes it's better that she does take a back seat, and luckily she recognises that. So it was sort of, you've got to sort that out, as well as sort of thinking, bloody hell, don't waste this, don't throw this away.
Yeah.
Which is what I did do, because when I did go back to work, it was unbearable.
How long were you signed off for?
So I was off for it was only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get back to work because it didn't suit me not being at work.
Just overthinking.
Yeah. So I went back to work and it was awful. I think it was my third night back. Something came up. I was sort of told just to fucking get on with it. And it was like, no, that's not right. That isn't right. I'm off. So I walked. Went home, slept on the settee because I didn't want to, like, what are you doing back at this time? Next morning just got up, walked across to my local Tesco and just said, have you got any jobs? And they gave me a job because I'd said I'd done security management at TNT. They thought, oh, okay, we'll stick you on the front door then. You're a big bloke. Within 12 hours I went from, on that nice career path that a lot of people want, earning decent money, to half the money, standing on the door.
I wouldn't like to say about the business that you worked at that pushed you to that, but I've been in a situation myself, and I think where there's a bad management or a bad culture or a figures-led culture, it just goes to show how things can go really quickly, really wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was just, it was, I mean, back then was the time when a lot of companies were changing and shedding that culture. So, it was at the tail end of that, and I'm sure now that, those people have moved on, retired, whatever, and
well, they got all coached or just changed themselves. I always find that bit about that toxic, calling someone toxic, difficult, because at some point I will have been toxic, and at some point you will have been toxic. And it's that piece of work you go through on change, isn't it? Everyone goes through something or gets taught something, and they move from operating in a certain way. We all learn behaviours. You have to. It's recognising them and changing them. Did I mention this one about the holidays last time? That was a little loosey, weren't it? So one I'm working on right now, and I have been a dick about it, is holidays. And I keep doing it, and it's when someone wants a holiday and I'm like really sarcastic about it, and it's because business isn't where I want it to be right now. So I'm not having a holiday right now, but I look after myself on a daily habit. I know I probably do need a holiday at some point. But right now I'm concentrating so much on the business and certain aspects of it is that I don't want a holiday. But when other people want a holiday, I am toxic about it. And I'm trying to fix that so that people don't feel like they can't go on holiday. I want them to be able to approach me and say, oh, I'm going to have a holiday, and I'm quite cool about it. And that's just an example. I think what people kind of go through is just learning them bad behaviours and thinking, actually, this is not conducive, this isn't going to help anyone, this is just me being a dickhead about it because I'm feeling like I need to work hard at the minute. But that's not fair on the rest of the team, is it?
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. And you can sort of fall into that. It's quite often you have that reality check. I certainly have, where, you know, stuff, shit hits the fan, and, you know, staff still have that day off the next day, even though they know everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, okay, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
It's you that's got the problem, not them.
Yeah. It's so hard, isn't it, mate? It's so hard to get through.
And you do have to separate, you know, the business owner from the staff and
just being a human as well.
Yeah. But they do care. They do care about work. They've got other commitments.
But they're entitled to the day off.
Yeah.
At the same time, and they need to get away from the stress as well.
So, but yeah, sometimes it can be difficult when you feel as though you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
But you can.
Yeah. So, you go and work at Tesco's. So, Mrs. says, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, what went wrong there? So,
did you feel lighter though when you were working there, mate? Did you feel like it was the right decision, or were you not thinking? Or
so I was in a deep dark place at the time, but it did lift a lot of pressure off. Just making that decision, walking that night, was the start of the way back up. Yeah. I wasn't great for quite a while, probably sort of 6 months. Really, trying to get out of it. So obviously went to see the doctor, had counselling, saw a psychiatrist, did all those good things. Never found the one thing that really pulled me through. It was just a bit of...
I think it is always that though. I do think it's a bit of everything, isn't it?
And started to look after myself at that point. I'd never exercised really. And that was when I started to do a bit of running, and got into that. And it was probably the running. I say there wasn't one thing that stopped it. The running was probably the last piece of the puzzle.
It's such a fucking good way to clear it, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, and go out for a run, and you know, back then I could run. And, I could go out. I could punish myself. I could go hard. You know, get the music on, get the high tempo stuff on,
and just disappear
and pound it. And I could go out for a couple of hours. That was magic for me, being able to do that.
I think there's a lot of people who... I think anyone who does running knows that feeling. Anyone who does running knows that feeling. I think anyone does it. But I definitely know that there's business leaders that do running because it's a good way to clear. In fact, I know pretty much everyone exercises or runs to that reason. Yeah.
It's I can't say how much it helped me, and still does. There's been times, there's been times in the past few years where I've not looked after myself so much, and I've started to sort of deteriorate mentally, which is why I'm sort of back on it now, and committed to staying on it now, because I know how much it's helped.
It's a lifestyle change, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
It's hard to actually look yourself in the mirror sometimes and say that I have to be like this all the time. This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
There's no other way out now. This is it.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is how I am. Every single day I brush my teeth, I put a new pair of clothes on, I go for a shower and I exercise. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Tesco, what did I do? It was, cleared my head, 6 months there. I thought, I need to start earning a bit more money because what we'd saved up was starting to deplete. So fortunately I got my HGV licence through when I was driving at TNT, so I just got a job delivering the bread for Warburton's, and you know that was a great job because you just turn up at silly o'clock in the morning. It suited me, and just go out delivering bread, seeing different people, and that sort of got me back on track of interacting with people at work. And cause stood at Tesco on the door, you just stood falling asleep half the time. It was mind numbing, and the money was good there. It was antisocial. You were working weekends, bank holidays, and ultimately with younger children, that was the sort of breaking point of, well, I can't carry on doing this. And it was then I sort of thought, well, what am I going to do? It generally doesn't work out if I'm working for somebody, so I need to do my own thing. Didn't know a lot about franchising, but it felt like a safer option. As I say, I didn't probably at the time didn't fully understand what franchising was. But I just knew that I could start a business up, have a bit of have a brand that's already there, a name that's recognised. So I bought into a franchise that had only just started, and I was the second franchisee, so I didn't really get those benefits from it, but it was still the support of there was somebody there to help hold your hand. And I looked at the usual standard sort of blokey stuff, lawn care, locksmiths, all that sort of stuff, and just saw this loft ladder thing, and it just resonated with me at the time. I just something sparked, and I thought, that's a brilliant idea, and I just love what they've got. To this day I can't tell you exactly what it was that.
Do you think it's a picture thing? I always think you fall in love with the individual who's selling it, or awarding it, or whatever you want to call it, and then the brand and what it stands for and how it looks.
Yeah, so brand was the brand wasn't what it is now, but it was still pretty strong, and it just felt right for me. It was the right opportunity. It was the right entry level as well. That always helps.
You can't buy McDonald's if you've got no money.
That's it. Yeah. So it just felt right. Contacted them, spoke to. They had a consultant in the business. Spoke to him, and it's got to the point where it's, well, right. I need to talk to the main man. I've got to. So I drove up to Bolton just to sort of sit and look at the whites of his eyes, and just had it wasn't a long conversation, and I just knew it was right. Signed up, and away we went.
That was it.
And that was 2013. So, and from the day of signing up, I've never looked back, never regretted it. Just had, there's never been a day where I've not had work. It's just absolutely, professionally the best thing I've ever done by a long shot.
Not that, innit, mate? I love that.
And that's why I love franchising.
Yeah. You're definitely franchising through and through, but it's nice to have someone like you in the industry, because people need to meet. If someone's thinking about franchising the business, they need to meet you. I say it all the time. The franchise industry is built on people like you.
Well, it is. It's you've got to live it. You've got to breathe it, and you've got to be real. Yeah. It's not easy. No. Shit will happen. Yeah. Don't sugarcoat it. Yeah. It's just be honest, be straight.
Transparent.
And that's sort of what I'm building, sort of the foundations of my More Than Loft Ladders is based on that.
Yeah. You'll get the right people. It's interesting. I've been the franchise industry is quite quiet at the minute, awarding franchises. I mean, you might tell me something different in a minute, but from what I can gather from talking to people in the franchise industry, it's relatively quiet right now. I mean, it doesn't half make you think, am I doing things wrong? And I always slightly worry about, is the brand right? Is the brand message right? Is the way we conduct ourselves the right way? I think it's just sticking to them guns and pulling the right people along with you. We've got a really hot lead at the minute, and they're coming up for Discovery Day. And I got talking to the fella, and he's got 2 young kids. And I said, oh, come on. He's like, I can't come because of the kids. And I said, well, bring the kids. I think they're 8 and 10 or something like that. And I said, it's Southport Beach. He said, it's perfect. I said, bring a football, and this is all on WhatsApp. Every time we get a leader that gets someone, we create a WhatsApp group with the family. So whoever's decision makers, I create a WhatsApp group straight away, so me and Jem can be in touch with them all the time, and then if they've got any questions, we just send to them. And literally this morning, he said to me, I don't think I can come for a discovery day, it'll only have to be my wife. And I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't award you a franchise unless I shook your hand and got seen the whites of your eyes.
Yeah.
And I said, I would definitely wouldn't award any franchise to anyone who hasn't been to a discovery day. And he was like, left it for 2 days, and he's come back this morning saying, can I bring the kids? And I said, bring the kids, it's Southport, there's loads for them to do. You can mooch around, go on the fun fair, you can go on the park, there's a big lake to walk down, and the best thing is the beach. I said, even if the weather's crap, you can put your waterproofs on and walk down the beach, bring a football. And I sent him some videos of my kids on the beach.
Yeah.
And he was like, mate, this looks amazing, definitely going to come now, blah, 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 we'll book it and we'll have a couple of days off school and we'll come. And I think that's the bit that I need to remember in them moments when I've said that, is that I stick to my guns. And all right, I might not sell as many franchises or award as many franchises, but I think if I can stick to them guns about how I treat people and stay the way I am, the franchises that I do get on will be the right people.
They will, absolutely. I'm at the beginning of my franchisor journey, if you like. 18 months in, I've spent a long time not rebranding, but just putting my stamp on it. New franchise agreements, new everything behind the scenes is new. We've got the ops portal that's just gone live, and really started to just change the business into what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And so we've only started recruiting this year,
Yeah.
Looking for new recruits, and we've got one guy on pretty quick who's just finished his training, so he's back in his area now. The leads are coming in,
Yeah.
and it's looking good for him. But I'm very, very mindful that I'm not going to award a franchise. I'd rather award 2 solid franchises that are going to stick in a year than, just sell 10 and see how it goes.
Yeah.
They've got to fit to our values. They've got to. I've got to think, can I work with this person for 5-10 years?
Yeah. It's so true.
And it's quality. Really is quality, and we give a lot. In our package, we give a lot, and I'm not going to give all that away to somebody I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They've got to be 100% for me.
Has that come from anywhere? Have you learnt any lessons?
I don't want to
Talk about it.
Don't want to badmouth previous franchisor, but there was certain things that I would have liked that didn't come, and I can't knock the guy. He's a lovely bloke, and he gave birth to this thing, if you like, that I've now got, and got me into it. And we did have a great time for 5 years. It was fantastic. I just began to get frustrated that sort of he found his plateau. He was in his comfort zone. He'd done what he needed to do,
Which is fine.
and that is what spurred me to talking to him and saying, look, is this as far as you're going with it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to take it further.
Was that not scary, that?
It was, because you don't know what's going to happen. Could he just be like, well, if you don't like it, off, it's...
I admire you for all that, mate. I really admire you for it. You're dead humble around it. I love that.
It was around the time of my renewal as well, so it was, I needed to know that if I was going to commit to it for longer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had that honest conversation, and he said that, yes, he would sell it to me, but, there were certain things he needed in place before he could, so it was going to be 3 or 4 years down the road. But I took his word for it. He is an honourable guy, and he actually came to me 18 months before I thought he would, and his circumstances had changed a little bit, so he said, look, I'm ready to do it now. So that was, oh shit, I've not started saving for this yet, and so scratching around, and we made it work. So, and it's again, I say, getting into More Than Loft Ladders was the best thing I've ever done in my professional life. It wouldn't have been if I didn't back it up by buying it. and that really sort of that made that decision in 2013. It sort of verified that decision and made it the right decision. And yeah, it's now sort of onwards and upwards. It's my brand, and that is what I bought.
I've yet to do something like that. See, I was born into franchising through mum and dad, and then I came into the business to do that. And I've always admired people who can buy or sell businesses. I've nearly sold a business. We nearly sold it at one point, but that whole piece of taking that risk, it's admirable, isn't it?
It is, and I don't give myself enough credit because it's just me doing what needs to be done. And that's, I try not to make it too big a thing. It's just part of what Liam needs to do to look after him and his family.
I think that's what everyone does in that book, isn't it, Liam? I think if you spoke to, you're an entrepreneur, right? We hate the word, don't we?
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. It makes, because anyone who is one doesn't like it because it feels like such a label. But like that is the spirit, because you're just on your journey, aren't you? You're not looking around. You don't care what anyone else thinks, so to speak. It's just, I'm on this journey and this is what's part of it, and part of it was what I'm going to build this. I've built this, I've really enjoyed it. He's ready to move on, I'm going to buy it. And it's just that piece of work going, like, how do I even do this? Approach a bank, save some money up. Like, I don't know how did you do it? You don't have to give me figures, just kind of give me an idea of how you did it.
It was tough because I'm exactly what you just said. It's like, okay, so he's going to sell it to me, but
how do we raise that sort of money?
How do we make this happen? And I actually, I still speak to him. I've got a mentor, so I just sort of went to him and said, look, what do you reckon? I've built my business. We've got a really successful franchise. We've got 4 guys out there fitting. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're earning big money, but I don't want to jeopardise that to buy this. So it was sort of starting fresh. It was like, right, I'm buying another business, even though the two were connected. And when I said the price that I'd agreed, he just said, well, it's a no-brainer. You've got to do it. So, well, where do I get $250,000 from? And fortunately, they were still doing. It was at the back end of the recovery loans from COVID, so I actually got one quite easily, and it was frightening how quickly they handed over that sort of money, to be honest. But I think it just backed up, the proposition I took to them. It was like...
But the thing is, mate, you'd had a business for 5 years doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a chance.
Yeah.
You weren't chancing it, were you?
They must have looked at that and said, well, yeah, this lump of money's safe with him.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
But I had to take the loan 6 months before I bought the business, just because they were closing those loans down at that point. So, it was a slightly nervy. I knew nothing would go wrong because, as I say, the previous owner was very honourable, straight guy. But you've got 6 months of sat on.
What did the missus say about this, mate? Was she just fully not fully up for it, or?
She, when I bought the franchise, it was like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. You can only fit so many loft ladders. Yeah. What are you going to do after 2 years and everyone around here's got a ladder? And I'm just like, look, it'll work. And so she was now at the point where it was like, for once in his life, it was right. And that's the only thing she'll ever give me. Was that one occasion.
You were right.
I was right about this opportunity. So when I said about the franchise, once she knows when I get something in my head, it's when I get it that deeply rooted in my head, it's really hard to shift me. So in some ways, it's just like I just need to get out of the way and let him do it and be ready to pick the pieces up. But on this occasion, she was thinking, well, yeah, no, we can make this work. And that was around the point that she'd not long given up a job of 20 odd years to come and work with me in our franchise. she's never said it, but I think part of the reasoning for that was I'd been pestering her for years. You know, you hate the job, pack it in, come and work with me. And she's like, no, I'm not working with you. It's not going to work. And when talk of buying the franchise came along, I think she sort of realised herself that he's going to need some help with this. And yeah, I do. It's now a proper family business.
Yeah.
My wife, my 2 kids, we all work in it on various parts of it. So she's, yeah, the franchise bit she was okay with by becoming franchisor.
Do you think she could see herself in it?
I don't know. She's very, very organised and gets stuff done. She doesn't like the not being in control of certain things, certain elements. So we sort of use each other to our strengths. And looking forward as franchisor, I need somebody there organising me because 100%. Again, we go back to that entrepreneur word. We're just, you've got to be focused on one thing, and all of a sudden your mind goes off over there, and then it's over there, and you need pulling back to what you should be doing.
Yeah, people to give it to. Yeah, and they crack on with it.
So yes, we've got people to give it to, and I've also got her now pulling you. Get back over here.
Amazing.
You need to do this. So it's come round that I couldn't be happier with it.
Mate, I can't wait to see what you do over the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. You'll fucking smash it, mate. You'll absolutely smash the pants out. You'll go through loads of lessons, but
yeah,
it'll be you'll be the next Revive, mate. You'll be something like that.
Well, let's hope so. If we can get anywhere near sort of what they've hit.
Yeah. I can see it happening, mate.
I'd be very happy.
Yeah, you just. It's important. It's important that you do that because it's family-run business. Middle of the UK, it's perfect, mate. It's been really nice to see. It's what the backbone of Britain's built on, small businesses like that, mate. Absolutely,
and that's what I want. I want to build a network of small businesses. I don't want to build this massive, powerful franchise that it may or may not become. It's enabling people to live the dream that I've lived. Am I over-egging it? Probably not, no. It's given me what I want, and if I can give somebody else that chance of doing that, and give them the shortcuts, give them a kit and say, look, you can go and do it on your own, but if you do it like this, it'll be a bit quicker, less hassle.
We talked about this last time. That profile that you had, you know how to run a business, you know how to manage a team, you've got the sense to do it. You switched on enough to crack on and do your own thing. You just needed someone to go. And that's what you did.
Yeah.
As soon as you got your teeth into it, you were off, weren't you? That was it. And then you're like, I want more now, I can do more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, for me now, it's I love the business I built up. It'll always be my baby. It's going.
Do you think it's important to keep the pilot? Or are you not bothered you're going to sell it?
We're definitely keeping it for now. There's stuff we're trying through our business that a lot of the other franchisees, they're not at that level yet. But I think it's important for me to trial these things through our business so that we can say to them, look,
we've done it for 6 months.
This works. You're not there yet. You can't use this tool yet, but it's on the shelf ready for you when you get to that level.
Yeah.
We're just getting an advert for Sky TV.
Amazing.
If you'd have said to me 3 years ago, put an advert on telly, I'd be like, you're fucking mad. Can't do that. That's for the big boys.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah,
That'll be a moment when that goes live on telly.
Bet it will, mate.
But we're trying that through our franchise because it's affordable for our franchise, and that'll be another tool that we can make available to the guys that when they hit a certain level, we've got these tools that can propel them quickly to
the next stage.
Yeah, so dead important for me to keep that side of the business.
Yeah, me too. I've got the pilot and it's on the ground. I feel like it's that where when things are tough, which it has been for the last 18 months in the temporary staffing market, I can really have that honest conversation with people and say, yeah, it is tough. This is what I'm doing about it.
Yeah.
like this has happened, I've done it, this is what I'm doing. I think I would feel false if I couldn't do that.
Yeah, you need to, and we're having to change marketing strategies in our business because what wasn't working is working, what was working isn't working, and a lot of people get stuck into this sort of, I've got a stream of marketing that's getting me loads of leads, it's fine. But when that dries up, shit, and so it's constantly trialling them 5-6 streams of marketing and keeping those various streams on the go and spotting the trends. So you say to the guys, look, we're on the ball here, we know that this one's going off the boil, turn that one up a bit. And when they come to you and say, well, why isn't this working anymore? Being able to have them answers, and as you say, having living it yourself, you can say with confidence and authority that, I know exactly what you're going through. Let's work together.
Can I stop you? Have you had any conversations about your mental health with any franchisees yet?
So a couple of them, yeah.
And how to cope running a business?
Yeah. So we've had conversations. One of the guys, he had a very rough time last year. So it was nice to be able to just sort of be big brother, if you like. Just put an arm out. And
I think that's also a big part of it. That I don't know if every franchise brand talks about that at the beginning. I'm sure people do it, but I don't know if they talk about it when they're awarding a franchise. It's something I do talk about.
Yeah. So we bring it into it. I did the mental health first aider with Jen Chapman.
Yeah.
That was great, and it wasn't just for a badge. It's because I've lived it, breathed it, and I want to be able to one, help people who are struggling, but two, like you say, also just make people aware of it before they start on this journey.
Yeah.
And just say that this is real. We can talk about it. In all likelihood, it's going to happen at some point in your life, as you said earlier, to some degree. I think it's absolutely right that you're upfront with it. We put it out there. People don't have to look hard to know that we're sort of advocates and we're not afraid to talk about it. And just by doing that, you're putting the awareness out there that people can think, I can talk to that guy about that.
I think it's so nice to have someone like you. You know what, mate? I might buy one of your franchises. I'm dead fucking serious.
Which one do you want?
Well, I'm after something else. I am after something else myself, and it's been able to have the practical conversation. So I can talk to any one of my franchisees about recruitment and business development, payroll, every part of the business. I know. Don't do it all the time, but I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I also know how to lead a team. I don't know how well, but I know how to lead a team. I also know how to manage a team. But I also know how to deal with the stress of running a business and mental health, and I think you do too.
Yeah, I do. And I didn't realise I knew until I sort of got into this role. Sometimes things happen and it just sort of drops in place that, oh shit, I knew that.
Yeah.
And I've known it all along, and you've just been doing it, and so it's just got to be spoke about. It's got to be done, just own it.
Have you had any conversation with your franchisee about self-belief and stuff yet? Have you had them negged out and wanting to quit and stuff?
You go through the usual sort of, it's quiet and can I make this work, and it's just going back to, you've done this, you've built this from nothing. Yes, we're going through a
rough patch.
Yeah, a bit of a rough patch at the minute, and it's what can we do? And I think most people, people who run a business, they're not stupid. They just, sometimes they just get to a point where they feel that they're sort of, stuck in a cul-de-sac. 9 times out of 10, they know the answers. As we've just alluded to that we did, and if you can coax that answer out of them,
self-belief,
and make them realise that, I did know that. and then they're off running again, and so I'm a big sort of, somebody's got a problem, just sit down and you will find out pretty quickly that they do know the answer, they just can't see it because of the fog.
Yeah. We've literally just had it last week. I had a franchisee who's 4 months in ring me and told me the marketplace is short and they want to quit. It's over. Can I have the money back? And I said to them, that's the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard in my life. And I said, get your wife on the phone now. And he said, what? And I said, go for a walk. And I said, I want to fucking ring your missus. Rang his missus. I said, what's going on? And she said, oh, he's been out and he can't hit it in, and he just thinks the marketplace is shut. And I said, do you think it's the end? He said, I don't know. I said, right, bring me back when you're with him. I said, mate, the fucking marketplace is absolutely booming. I said, your head's in the ground. He's lost his mum, had to go back to India and bury her, and then came back, and he's going through grief obviously at the same time, and he's just lost his head a little bit. I said, mate, this is not the marketplace, this is you, this is all about you. You need to pull yourself round. He said, you were smashing it beforehand, it's dipped, you need to fucking pull yourself round. These are the things you need to go through. And I said to his missus, you need to back him. I said, you need to work with him. And I said, I'm going to send Ollie down. Ollie's going to come and do a couple of days with you, and I'm going to turn it round. They did 10 meetings and nearly got, I would say, the equivalent of 10 grand worth of business in a day. Yeah. And I said, and I was in the car, and he's like, yeah, you're right. I said, no. He said, I've got this shit, blah, 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 I got some business. And I went, no, the marketplace is fucked, it can't be. I said, it can't be like that. And I said, it's just self-belief. And that piece of work is exactly why he bought a franchise, but he just didn't know it.
Yeah.
That's the bit.
It's hard when you do that. I recognise myself in that guy that you spoke about, because, that first dip, you've started, you're flying, you're on a high, and inevitably that first dip will come, and you think that the bottom's just fell out of your world, and it's like, oh shit, what have I done? And with experience, you see these things, and what was going to make you quit last year, now you're just thinking it'll be, we'll ride this to 2, 3, 4 years down the line. You're just like, well, it's what happens.
Become resilient, don't you?
Yeah, it's what happens, and save a bit from the good times. Yeah. To get you through that bit.
Yeah, and then don't celebrate massively too much when the good times come as well.
Yeah.
Just take it as that's a good week.
Get yourself levelled. It's what you've. I'm a big. It's you can have a great quarter, and go and celebrate it. You might have a great week. Okay, yeah, fine, but it's what you do over 12 months.
Yeah, and your journey every day.
Yeah. It's you've got to look back at the end. You could smash quarter one, and then go and lose it all in quarter two. Yeah. And it's you were up there celebrating, and now you look like a bit of a knobhead because you've got nothing. Yeah. You've got to look at the big picture. Yeah. And if people do that more when they are down in that trough, they'll lift themselves out of it. Like you've helped that guy. Yeah. You've made him look at the bigger picture. And
I can't wait to capture that. I'm going to capture that on video, because we'll see him at the next conference and he'll have the business on, and I'm going to say to him, can you capture it? Because that's the essence of what franchising is to me. Literally, that's it. I know you speak to the BFA, it's operations manual, franchise agreement, blah, 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 ethical, all that sort of stuff. And honestly, that is the actual framework of it. But I think franchising, in a nutshell, is that piece of work I did with that franchisee. Or the other piece of work I've done is where another franchisee spoke to another franchisee who's done well and been through it. Yeah, that bit is what I call franchising.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've helped a couple of our guys out. This time last year, one of them was like, "I think I'm done. I've got nothing. There's no leads coming through. I've got one job booked in." And we just sat down, talked about it, looked at a couple of new strategies, and within 6 weeks he was complaining he had too much work. And it's you're not done. You've just got to look at a new way of doing stuff, and if you don't nip that in the bud, you will get to a point where you've run out of work.
Yeah. That's what I love about my job. I think I just saw it in your face then. I think that's the bit you love about it as well, isn't it? That bit of work there.
Yeah, it's supporting them. Yeah. It's supporting them, and it doesn't, whether you put a bit of money behind it as well, or it's just that literally going to see them and. But for me, I've not done my job if I'm not there to support them. Yeah. And a lot of people, the people who don't know what franchising is and just think it's about me and you sat here counting the money that's coming in, that isn't what franchising is. That money's coming in because we're running a business, and it's covering our costs, and a huge chunk of that money is going back into developing that business. And for me, it's the support. I take that instance again of turning it around and putting that smile back on his face over any amount of money.
Yeah.
Because that is...
It's purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. And we're at a similar stage with another lad this year where it's naively, he's stopped, really cut down his marketing because he was absolutely flying. And then all of a sudden it catches up with you. And again, it's just sort of sitting down and just going through the motions and, look, it's not over. This is what we do. This is the proof it works. And again, within a couple of weeks, his leaves are shot up and he's back on it. And so for me, I love that, just being there. And, even for the guys that are doing well, of just challenging them and
see if they can go further.
You've done really well. That is absolutely shit. There's some. Why didn't I think of that 5 years ago? And you're smashing it. But if you add this to it as well, and, oh shit, yeah. And it's just that helping and empowering them to be bigger and better. And my job will be done when I've got a new franchisee on. Or a group of new franchisees on that have built something to the size that I built. That is what I want, and I want somebody to go past that. We've smashed our goals. I don't feel as though that as I say now, that is a test bed for the network. That business isn't going to break any more records because it's a dual purpose business now, and it's going to help the other guys smash its records. That for me is the purpose of it now.
I love that, mate. It's everything franchising about, mate. Thank you. I am gonna wrap the podcast up. I think I've got everything I wanted out of it. I wanted to be really selfish this time.
That's
but
right.
mate, you are gonna. I'm so grateful we've become friends. I'm so glad. I can't wait to see you. We need to go for a beer at some point. Or if not a beer, just a water or a run or something. But it's fundamentally what the franchise industry is built on, and people like you. I can't wait. You need to talk at some BFA events. You need to come to some more things because you need to get involved.
That's as I look at my development, that's more. I want to get more into helping franchising as an industry,
100%,
and working for that as well as More Than Loft Ladders. So I've actually signed up. Well, I've been signed up to do it's only a 5-minute slot, but you've got to start somewhere. There's an FSB event in Warrington next week that I'm speaking at, and that'll be me.
You're going to get recorded?
That'll be my debut. So I'll get it recorded.
Get it recorded, mate.
And I can sit back and cringe and. You've got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, mate, get it, mate. I can't wait. You've got to book yourself the talking spot at Expo. Pay the money and book yourself.
Yeah. So, but I want to get into it and be a part of the wider franchising community.
Mate, 100%. Like, people need to listen to you. Amazing, mate. So inspiring. Yeah, Thank you for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it coming back. It is what it is, but I actually think this podcast's been better than the last one. So
no, you're welcome, and I mean, I owe you a big thank you as well, because was it probably getting on for a year ago? I reached out to you because someone had mentioned your name, and I think a lot of what I've done in the last year, I might have got round to it, but I've done it a lot quicker because you've just sort of cemented my thoughts and just said, just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
You just got to get out there, live it, do it. And it's given me the confidence that that person who doesn't necessarily look like the big businessman, that's bollocks.
It's relevant.
If you've got it in here and you've got it in here, you'll make it happen.
100%, mate.
So,
Thanks so much, mate.
No worries.
That's it.